Hey everyone, so back in the shop today. It's been a little while since I made a video. Surprise, surprise. It's so hard when you have two kids that are young because they eat up so much of your time and you want to be with them. But sometimes you just need to take a little time for yourself to get out to the shop and build something that you want to build. And this was one of those projects where I just kind of had to make time. So yeah, this is my kind of like a mid-century modern piece as far as the legs go. The tabletop's a little different. I don't know what kind of pattern you want to call it. It's just kind of like a chevron, at least the edges kind of look like a chevron. Some might say argyle because they have these little diamonds. They're kind of on each piece. So what have you, it's just a nice texture, and there will be glass that goes on top of this. So they will sit on top of the risers. It's about 34 by 44 inch plate or annealed glass that's going to be on top of it. So it should be very strong. It'll sit out about 2 inches around each corner. That way no one's necessarily stubbing their toes on it all the time. At least they'll try and be a little bit more aware of where the legs are. So anyway, I just kind of wanted to give a synopsis of how the table was put together. Because I had a lot of people ask me on Facebook because I unveiled it on the Wood Whisperer community page because I was looking for some constructive feedback. I kind of liked the design of it. I didn't know how other people might take it, so I figured I'd kind of put it out there and see what kind of feedback I got, which the response was pretty good. I had a lot of people that liked it. Some people were like, that's different, which I don't care. It doesn't hurt my feelings at all. It's a concept piece, so not everybody's going to like that kind of style. Some people are very traditional and they wouldn't really care for anything like this. Not saying that I wouldn't put it in my house, but I don't know if it goes with the rest of what I have in there. So probably just be going for sale. I would like to do another one, just in something a little more figured. So at any rate, kind of wanted to go over how it was done. Basically, since it was a concept piece, I didn't have a whole lot of money to do it. I decided to go ahead and use some stuff that I had around the shop. I had plenty leftover pieces of oak. This is just white oak. This is old boards. The boards actually came from a farm that I used to live on, my in-laws' farm. That had been sitting in a shed for God knows how long. It's probably older than myself and my wife, maybe combined. I mean, I have no idea how long this stuff was milled, but it was all bowed, crazy stuff, and cut it into sections, and it's been sitting in the shop, just kind of hanging out, and figured, well, let's go ahead and give it some purpose. So they started off as 6 equal-sized boards. They were all milled up and planed down to about 1.25 inches, somewhere in there. And basically what I did was ran them all to the same width and cut each one on a 16-degree bevel in kind of like a parallelogram shape. So every time you pass through the table saw, you just basically just flip it over and give you the exact same angle on each side, so it wasn't tapered. They actually run like this. So once you glue them all together, which basically just used biscuits and for alignment, got them all joined that way. And once that was completed, was able to, using some bar clamps and some pipe clamps and some cawls to kind of make sure the alignment would stay together. So each pinnacle was on the same plane. Once that was kind of done, basically all you had to do was turn it 90 degrees, run it through the table saw again, and then you got these sections, each one of these. So then you just flip every alternating board and glue it together. Now, as far as gluing is concerned, gluing for something like this is a little bit more difficult because of the way the end grain is. Excuse me. So since it is an end grain to end grain joint, the bond is going to be weaker if you do not size and seal, essentially, the end grain prior to glue up. Basically what you do is you get 2 parts water, 1 part glue. You make that mixture and you paint it on where each face is going to meet, and allow that to kind of soak in for like 2 to 3 minutes. Allow it to dry. It'll get nice and tacky. That's when you know that all the grain, because if you want to think about like the end grain's like a bunch of straws, and just soaks all that glue up. So if I was just to go ahead and glue it normally, I get it all glued up and all clamped, and then the wood just start pulling that glue into the pores instead of actually making that face glue together. So actually starve the joint of the glue. So what you do is you get that mixture on there first for a couple minutes, let it dry, then you can add your regular glue on there after that and glue it together. So each one of these is actually doweled as well. I think there's 3 to 4 dowels in each section. And essentially what you have to do in this case is, since if I was going to use my doweling jig, if you follow that down on each piece, you'd actually be spreading your holes wide. So I actually had to use a jig that had 16 degree on it, and so it rested on top, and then I could allow it to drop basically level or parallel or perpendicular to the floor, so that when I went to each section, they would all align. So maybe a little bit hard to describe on camera. I really wish I could have done an entire video on each process and how that was done. Unfortunately, just time is hard to come by. So I really kind of plan on trying to do a little bit better job of instruction on the next build. Especially if I'm going to use like a lot nicer wood, I'm going to dedicate a lot of time to actually doing a full how-to on building this bad boy. So after that slab was all glued up and doweled, it was very, very sturdy. It feels and behaves just like a regular slab. So very excited about that. After that was done, I moved on to legs. Legs were just kind of simple. I think they're about 2 3/4. Yeah, I'd say about 2 3/4 wide, and then they were tapered down to about 7/8, and then every one was then pillowed, which is basically you round all the edges along with this taper. And so basically I kind of made like a little template, kind of rough cut it on the table saw first to get my taper, and then once that was done, I would just round everything off using spoke shave and this little Wood River 100. It's a little bad boy. It's a little block plane, but it's so comfortable. It sits really well in your hand, and so I could just use that to get nice light shaves and contour those legs. Yeah, so after that was done, I ended up just kind of sinking them into the wood, kind of not really mortise and tenon. I don't even really know how you want to call that kind of joint. It's a little different. But anyway, that's how this bad boy went together, and overall pretty happy with it. There was a little rocking. You would imagine that it would be like somewhat of a variance over the course of all these pieces being glued together, but for the most part it was pretty close. I was only off by 1/8, maybe a heavy 1/8. So all it was a matter of just shaving a little off the bottom of a couple legs to let them drop in. Now there's absolutely no rock whatsoever, so it is quite stout. I put some weight on it. I think my 4-year-old son can tap dance on this thing and did not have any issues, because there was some people on the community page that were kind of concerned about the since they have a splayed leg on them, because they kind of feather off to the side, that applying weight would make it split, but not so. It actually is quite rigid. So anyway, if anybody has any questions on how this thing was built, or maybe even a set of plans, I'm trying to put something together on Google SketchUp for everyone, and I'll hopefully post that on the Scott Design Facebook page. So anyway, hope you all are having a good one. Thanks for checking out the video, and I hope to see y'all soon. Bye.